I'm suspicious of whites who join Negroes and always have to be in the lead, who always have to be the head, who always have to be at the top in Negro organizations. Those whites who really have the interest of blacks at heart, let them give some advice to some Negroes and stand on the sideline. But don't join the organization and then get at the head of it and pose as a friend of Negroes.
Well, I think that today you could point to a large number of Negro leaders who have consistently betrayed Negroes in a whole host of areas.
They aren't really Negro leaders. These are puppets that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. You can't name me a Negro leader who has been betrayed Negroes, who has not been endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported by the white liberals. Now, concerning the poll taken by Newsweek magazine, I think you said that this was the leaders who said that, who went with King and against Mr. Muhammad around 90%. I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
What's up, y'all? Super Mike 2164. Hit the like, support the channel. You know, I'll try to develop. Anyway, what I want to deal with today, I don't know how quick it'll be, but we'll see. I want to deal with some more of the Nick Cannon situation, and these are perspectives. And Dr. Boyce did a good video today. Well, at least seen the title of it, because it was, I don't know, he had some technical problems. But, you know, Malcolm X once laughed. See, a black leader, a black activist is actually a specific category. Okay? It is a specialized person with unique attributes. A real black leader, real. And what this is showing us with the Nick Cannon apology, with the Terry Crews, of course, no, I don't know who thought about fucking Terry Crews as any kind of black leader or anything. With, you know, we got people like, I don't know, these little black activists like, I don't know, these Snoop Dogg, you know, when he was saying a few little things that was good, and then because of the Kobe situation, you know, a black leadership, people who, first of all, number one, a real black leader. See, you got, listen what I mean. Black leader, meaning these are my people. And a black leader loves his people unconditionally. They love their people. They're going to, whether they do bullshit or whether they do the right shit. They love their people. And they want their people to be successful. It's just like children. Even if your family, even if your family, your brother, family, mom, sister, brother, cousin, whatever, if they do something, and it might be bad, it might be true, everybody else wants to punish them, and they may need to be punished. And, you know, it could be something illegal, robbing, stealing, even killing, whatever. That black family member who loves that person, even though the person does need to be punished, even if that punishment includes the death penalty, they may say, well, you know, you did the crime, you have to do the time. But that family member has a love for that person still. They have love for that person. They remember the good in that person. And that's what you need in a black leader. Now, we got levels to that. There's levels to the black leadership because some people can take more pressure than others. But number one category and thing is a black leader, the love that they have for their people and for their objective and their goal, it supersedes their love for the material things that they may have. And they're willing to speak the truth or do the activity necessary to solve whatever problem that they feel is impeding the progress of their group. Okay, everybody ain't like that. Everybody is not like that, and you know, we need to understand that. So right now we see Nick Cannon. You know, Nick Cannon's a wealthy brother. You know, and I know, anytime you come up with your own podcast and you wear your turban, he's wearing his turban like Yahweh ben Yahweh, Hebrew Israelite. He was studying some history and some knowledge. He's a wealthy brother, creative brother, and you know, this man here shows us that he is an adherent to wisdom. But if we look at like a Professor Griff was more dedicated to the mission. And even though he lost finances and he lost stature and he lost, but he would not deny the mission, because Professor Griff understood his mission. He had more love, so he took the hits. He had that type of character. Everybody don't have that. And it doesn't. I know people think it matters because of the amount of things that you have, but there's some people that work a regular job and they won't stand up to mistreatment at the regular job. But there's some people who will stand up to the mistreatment, who will seek to organize the union, who will seek to, and at the risk of their job, at the risk of their family, at the risk of there's some people who do stuff like that, you know. So this is what I mean. That is leadership quality. Now, what our enemy has done. Now, sometimes I'll say it this way too. The leadership quality is not necessarily the same person doesn't have the charisma. See, the star has the charisma. The star attracts the numbers. The person with the charisma, they attract the numbers. They have the ability to make an idea mainstream. And there's a lot of leadership people who are dedicated, but they just don't have that charisma to get the numbers needed. So you're going to get the one with the charisma, and they could, and they follow that leadership, and then that person with the charisma does their part. And then you have other levels of of this. You know, there's some people with the person that may have the leadership quality, who has the courage, but they may not have the mathematical business acumen. So they need to get the businessman who may not have the charisma either, but he has the business acumen. He can organize the system and make your stuff work, right? So I'm just saying, Boyce Watkins said, this shows us that, you know, entertainers are not always leaders. They're not black leaders. They're not really black leaders. We have a few that is, but if they were not raised up in that, in because you have to really train. You can incubation. You have to have a system to incubate your real good leadership, and you will get more of them. And okay, so now I'm gonna bring that to the point. So Nick Cannon, he broke. They had too much pressure. The opponent, but here's the good thing though. So my thing is, okay, so we can't fault Nick. You know, black folks, I don't understand. I mean, but I understand. I do understand. But we get disappointed. When we get disappointed, we fall apart. Some of us. It's not when a leader pops up, he can't do everything. He can't do everything. He could stand strong. He could do some things. The leader is usually, he's good at a lot of the pieces, but he has some pieces of every category. But his most important, the leader's most important quality is their courage. That's the leader's most important quality. And they have some business acumen so they can get the thing started, but they can't make it grow to the next level. They have some charisma so they can attract some people, but they don't have that kind of charisma where it's that level. So this is what I'm saying. So this is what we're looking at. When we see people rise and something happens and then maybe they fall or whatever, but they tried to do something. Black folks, we need to learn this from other communities. No matter what you think about that person and of the mistake that they made, we settle on the best part of what they try to do, especially if it was for the benefit of our community. Now, when we talk about the worst part of what they did, when we talk about the worst parts of mistakes that they made, and especially if it's important to develop our next people, what we need to do is we have to be, you know, a little sensitive because, excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, we need to be a little sensitive because what's happening with that is things don't, I mean, we only have a certain amount of knowledge. For example, look at Nat Turner. He's a leader. The leader don't always survive. So Nat Turner might have had an intention of getting total freedom, and he probably organized based upon what he knew to do and was led to do, and the people that supported him went and they made an impact on history. He was killed. Now you can look at that and say he was killed, he failed. Well, he did fail at some things. But look at the history that he created by resisting an evil force. I don't give a fuck what the enemy says. Number one, you have to disconnect yourself from the enemy. Your enemy is not the authority figure. The enemy, you cannot allow the enemy to be the authority over your information. You have to distrust every freaking thing that your opponent says. Distrust what they say. Look at what they do. Look at what they do. So black folks, we are more on code with our enemies. And when I use the term on code, I'm talking about we line up with them because we want to be on the winning side, the side that we believe that's going to win. They always win, so we're going to support them, and maybe they will be favorable to us. That's a mistake for us. The best thing to do is just be quiet. If you don't know, if you don't think if you don't believe in if a black person is trying to do something, and you can see that technically that is supported by the truth and facts, but maybe you don't believe in that person, or maybe you don't believe they'll be successful. Shh, just be quiet. Don't get on code with the enemy and help the enemy destroy that person. Don't do that. Because what happens is, we can look at Nat Turner. We can see history keeps, when you have an injustice that's there, you're going to keep having uprisings. And each one will learn from the previous history. And this is why the enemy, they love to hide your history and change your history. But that's what happens, that you continuously having assaults against that. The same assault against it. Eventually, that enemy, a condition happens where your enemy is not as strong as they used to be. And you win. You begin to win. And so that is what we need to understand. And eventually, so let me take it back to this here. So let's look at the Jewish community, right? The people that's Jewish communities. And there's a Jewish community, there's a Zionist community. It's not every single Jew, but there's a group within that community that is highly interested in the affairs of Black America. And these particular individuals within that community, they do a very good job at marshaling their resources and their groups. And they make sure they employ our people with charisma, and make sure the people with charisma are under their control, so that when any problems happen in the collective, when we start bucking against the injustice, or maybe some of the, they can punish them. Just like Cosby, just like Nick Cannon, just like anybody that, let's say Barack Obama and Michelle Obama start coming up and talking all slick and talking for, Black people and everything. The Jewish community would come against them. Okay. Now, what Black people as a collective, now we have numbers now. So we're different than we were 100 years ago. We're different than we were 50 years ago. Black America needs to understand that conditions are similar, but they're not the same. We have more options if we would but change our behavior, right, as a collective. When you have Nick Cannon getting sunned, the Jewish individuals in that community who dislike what Nick Cannon said, when they begin to marshal their resources against Nick Cannon, a few of us went to support Nick Cannon, but too many of us begin to empathize. You can't talk about nobody like that. You can't do that. We want fairness as Black people. If you go through Twitter, go through the social media comments of Jewish individuals as related to what Nick Cannon said, I don't see any Jewish comments. I didn't see any of them saying, well, Nick Cannon was right. Well, I don't think he's bad. You don't see any of that. They all want. And then you see comments from them telling us to fight him. So then you had Jamil Hill. You had Dwayne Wade come back and then blast Nick Cannon. Then you had Terry Crews. Then you had other people, blast the football player that said something that Mr. Farrakhan said. So we got to understand, that's how we should be if you want what they have. If you want what they have, that's a beautiful community for us to study. There is absolutely no hatred. We don't have to hate them. I mean, it's really silly. But we have their history that we can study how they got that. And you can look at their behavior and see, you don't pile on your guy. That is the absolute wrong thing to do. You don't get any points for that from them. It's just like, if I gave an example, if you have a bully, if the bully came up to you and took your, maybe just took your candy right out your hand and threw it on the floor, spit in your face, the bully might be bigger than you. When you go to try to fight the bully, he beats your ass. The next time, maybe you learn something. Maybe you learn how to defend yourself a little better. When that bully comes to you, you get no points by giving him your candy and saying, thank you. He still wants to smack you. He wants to abuse you. He wants to put you in your place. You're not going to get any points from him. You're going to be a perpetual slave. If you want to be or defeat that bully, you look at his technique, you find out how to defend yourself from the attack, and you behave that way. You see? So that's kind of what I wanted to say. This community, they have an interest in seeing, there's a lot, I'll say it like this, there's some very powerful individuals within that community. They have an interest in seeing Black America, especially in the Black world, dysfunctional. Why? Because we go to Walmart, spend our money. We put our money in Bank of America, Goldman Sachs or Lehman Brothers or any of the financial institutions. We spend lots of our money with this community, whether you want to or not. They have invested in so many great products. Not that doesn't make nobody hate them. That's like, wow, we want to do that. But when you say you should want to do that to them, that's like, oh, you want to compete with us. They don't like that. Why would I? See, they're not going. You're not going to get any points from them. If you want to be and have what they have, they're going to fight you. That's what we got to understand. And you don't get, that's what they hate Minister Farrakhan for. Because he's not trying to kiss ass. He's been offered millions of dollars and he's been offered a lot from individuals in that community to change what he says and how he does what he does. He don't care. That's his legacy. So now what ends up happening is when you have someone like that, they start to crystallize other individuals and they start to become something. Now that you have an organized group, it lives beyond that individual. And it trains other individual and identifies other individuals who have that same character strength. So that perpetuates the situation. And that's how you become what these very powerful individuals who sunned the shit out of Nick Cannon. That's how you become like them. I mean, as far as resources. We should not want to become like them as far as the oppression that they've done. It's obvious that Nick Cannon don't believe in that apology. And it's obviously that these people don't want to have those kind of conversations with Nick Cannon where he's really literally saying what's on his mind, and having that kind of conversation. Because these facts, they don't win in that conversation. And to them, they're like, why should we have that conversation with a rat? To them, you're like a rat. You're an animal. So they're like, we're not going to talk to you. We just beat you. You're nothing. You see? So, but the thing is, I want us as black people to understand, you don't sit there and help them. It's not going to help you. The best you can do is just be quiet. Just be quiet. If a slave wants to try to run away, don't say nothing. It's not your job. You didn't see him. You don't know what's going on. You don't have to say anything. But if you want to comment in support, or don't comment. I wouldn't. Because what's happening is the activity of, let's say if Nick Cannon would have won. Let's say if Nat Turner would have won at that moment. Let's say if Marcus Garvey would have won. Let's say if, the objectives that the black people that formed NAACP would have succeeded with the economic portion. Let's say the civil rights and the Black Panthers and all of the black nationalists and the Black Power movements. Let's say if that had been successful at that moment, we would be the winner today. We would have more substance. So why would you take the side of a group or individuals within a group who want to continue to control the substance? Nick Cannon has many products, media products. He's very smart, but he has billion-dollar products that he's thought of and organized. That's a very knowledgeable, valuable brother. Nick Cannon would be valuable to us even if they took all his money. He could get all that back. Maybe he doesn't believe in himself. Of course, he doesn't want to lose all that money, and because he would have a hard time. But guess what? He would be valuable. He would be valuable just based off the knowledge that he has on how to organize, and based on his charisma. But he doesn't see that, and so he collapsed. Because the thing is, anytime you build something that's what Farrakhan teaches you, and so there's a few others, like people like Tariq Nasheed and even Professor Griffin. There's a lot of brothers who are building from the ground up on their own, independent. When I say independent, I'm talking about within friendly communities. Their support must come from those people who agree with you. This is why a community must be built, and this is why these type of things don't succeed within a few generations. That's why Nat Turner had to die, because it's showing us a history of resistance. It doesn't win because the enemy is too powerful at that moment for it to win the first few times. Marcus Garvey and all of the other, when I say, and this is the Black Power movement. There's a civil rights movement which is trying to integrate and trying to get acceptance from these people and groups that exploit our oppression. And, they make money from us not controlling our own dollars. You got to think about it. They don't want you to control your own dollars. Why? You're easy prey. They can gentrify you when they want. They can move you here. They can move you there. Oh, dang, it would complicate everything if black people got organized and really start dictating to us. You know how inconvenienced that would make many individuals? They're going to fight you. When these fights happen, when these battles happen, and one of the things that people don't understand is religion is a battleground. It really is. If you want to understand it, go ahead and study why religion brings power to certain people. If you control that religion. Now, if you don't control it and you don't control the narrative, then your people can be convinced to assist the enemy in times of trouble. And so that's all I want to say. I want to try to I'll touch base more on some of the other parts of this, but to me, I'm looking at a long game, Nick Cannon's situation is not a loss, in my opinion. It's a loss on some levels, but what it does is it allows the opportunity to expose the community to an opponent. You have to be able to see your opponent in order to fight your opponent. If your opponent has put themselves together as an ally, then you're not going to be able to resist them. You don't even have the knowledge to resist them. You're scared of them. You may be scared of them. And they can mess you up. They have power. They control these platforms, But the thing is, when they start firing us, which they'll fire everybody, because they're not going to be able to maintain this. As more and more black people become aware of what's going on, it's going to hurt us because we got to do things on our own. So they will be firing more black people, and they will be putting more pressure. I see that they were going after Charlemagne the God because he likes the minister. They're going to really be turning up the heat, and especially if the minister passes away or something like that, they're going to try to destroy Nation of Islam, which they're not going to be able to. It's impossible because now we're everywhere. And, and people need to understand something. Nation of Islam is started in Black America. Minister Farrakhan in Nation of Islam it's almost like the Catholic Church. I'm just going to give that as an example. Or even the synagogue, The religious dynamic inspires large groups. That's what it does. It inspires large groups to the level to build as it should be. But the religious group does not do all the building and everything itself. So, but it organizes, it inspires, it cultivates the groups of people with the type of dedication to be able to lead those efforts. And then you get your organizers, you get your business people, you get your government people, and people start different countries and all these different things. So that's why it's like when people start looking, what happens in Farrakhan done? If you don't understand the dynamics of how this thing works, Farrakhan is like a pope for the black world. He's literally like that for the black world and the indigenous world. So when y'all start seeing in this next few generations that Nation of Islam starts growing in what's called Hispanic and Latin America, but it's going to really be called Aboriginal, you're going to start seeing it down in Southern America. We up here in the North American space, that is going to go to them. They're going to be the leaders of that. We better be getting our shit together because ain't going to be we already had a Minister Farrakhan. We had a Malcolm X. We had Honorable Elijah Muhammad right here among us. If we haven't learned shit from that, just die. The job is on us to do everything. I hate a brother, a smart brother, Ansari. The brother put up a post, Minister Farrakhan's not a nation builder. It's your job. I mean, he had a good idea with the plebiscite thing. He got his own, but see, these people who don't understand the mission, they don't understand. They think they're smart and nobody else can tell them anything. One of the things that Minister Farrakhan inspires people is because he learns from everybody. He don't have to convert you. Literally, I don't care if, I don't, like, people be into this religious banging stuff. I don't care what you want to call yourself. You can call yourself anything. I don't care. I don't need to convert you. I don't need to convert nobody. Why? It's unnecessary. We're all the same. Because religion is just, it's a vehicle. It's like a car. This is a group that's harmonized spiritually to these certain principles. I can harmonize, So it's a vehicle. We need to understand these type of things. Black folks, if you don't understand something, don't expect stuff too much. Sometimes we expect things. I seen another brother. We thought we had a real one, and it took him 2 days to collapse, talking about Nick Cannon. You thought something? We don't know what's going to happen. All we know is the mission. This is the objective. The objective is black power in every space, in every category. We want to control our own destiny. We want to control our own land. We want to control every damn resource that we need and desire in order to grow our community. We want to control it. We should not feel satisfied with any other group being able to block anything that we collectively want to have happen. They can't block nothing, if it's especially to us. Now, with black people, I don't need to control some other community. I don't need to be all in, the business, the day-to-day businesses of the Jewish. I don't want to control their methods of production and, supply them and turn them into, a perpetual consumer class. I don't want to even make my money like that. But this is the problem that they have with us. A lot of these people make their money off of us being a perpetual consumer class. And anytime somebody says, we need to stop that, they perk up like, what? We need to, because when they see numbers, they're looking at numbers. They're like, okay, can't have numbers. Because they can't get rid of the idea, because the idea is out here and it's going to keep going and it grows. But they're concerned about the numbers and coalitions. They need to break those coalitions up. You can't have that forming. They need to break those groups up. I'm just saying, this is what we got to think. Once you understand that these are your opponents, then you'll be seeing stuff better. You'll be expecting stuff. These are individual battles of a war. These people are trying to keep money flowing out of our pockets into their pockets. That's their objective. They want to keep resources and stuff flowing to them. That's what's up. So, anyway, peace out, y'all, family. And keep on fighting, keep studying, and keep learning.